We have quite a bit. Like an hour. Yeah, an hour. Hour 15. No problem. Yeah, thank you. You out? Nice, nice.
They're trying to block one of the intersections through Westchester. Through that, I believe that was a red light there. And it looks like we have been granted permission in Air 7 HD to cross the airspace there. So you're going to see us narrowing the gap here a little bit, and we're approaching this intersection now. That's going to be a red light.
Yep.
This guy's going around cross traffic there, and CHP, I believe that's still CHP,
yes, it
is staying close behind here, continuing northbound on Lincoln Boulevard, again towards the 90 freeway, where we saw this pursuit just, a little over an hour ago. And this guy could get on Culver Boulevard. There's a lot of options here. This guy went from having no options to having plenty of options. There's Marina Del Rey, and there's all over the west side where this pursuit could go at this point. Lincoln Boulevard, it's kind of one of those main streets that takes you through, from LAX all the way towards Santa Monica and the Palisades and those communities up that way. So this suspect just has, I would say, options, but it wouldn't surprise me if this guy just decides to negate those options and hop back on the. Oh, well, no, just as I say that, as we approach Jefferson Boulevard, this guy's making a U-turn and now heading southbound on Lincoln Boulevard, which would, let's see, he didn't quite get to the 90, so maybe he's, it's just hard to say at this point. This guy has done a circle of the entire basin, and now he's doing U-turns and about to do the circle again the other way, I would say. This guy's just taking CHP officers on a lap about town. And it's, oh no.
Wow.
Very close there to some oncoming traffic. They're just doing a left turn there, and that's going to hold CHP back a little bit as they have to negotiate around that traffic. And that is what you worry about when these guys go off of freeways and now are on these surface streets now. You see some officers there trying to block traffic, trying to block intersections. And as we come up on Manchester, and Lincoln Boulevard, this guy's just flying through that intersection. And we're kind of headed back into LAX airspace now. So you're going to see that bit of a longer shot again as we come up on a bus there. Luckily, that bus is pulling over to the right side. And we're going to head back towards LAX, which will be, I'm not sure if I would be surprised at this point, but, it's just kind of leading me back to the assumption that this guy's just lost or just burning time at trying to do, trying to enjoy his last 15 minutes of freedom before, as you said, this guy is going to very much likely end up behind bars this evening.
Right.
Back
and
to LAX.
Passing through the LAX area. We've got permission to follow along, and we're doing that. This is, it's a real difficult thing for our pilot to have to deal with this, along with everybody else is involved in this pursuit. Yeah, he's blowing through a red light. He's gone through so many, I've lost count. And that's the LAPD helicopter there. There's construction, by the way, going on at LAX. That's why you've got some lanes blocked off here and more traffic and more instances in which this can be problematic for the people who end up caught up in this through no fault of their own. He's now on Sepulveda Boulevard heading north. This is at Century. This is really the way to get into LAX. Heading south, and passing, and now he's going to go under the runway again, it looks like, pretty soon, on Sepulveda. So basically going right back in the direction that he had just come. Now the, the speed's slowing a little bit, but the level of danger has been pretty constant with the ignoring of red lights. You see it looks like Air 7 has had to climb quite a bit. The LAPD helicopters fly lower. They're getting permission to go through. We are, I think, being instructed to climb. And where's the guy?
Exactly, Mark. And there he is, right up from under the bridge. And it looks like we're getting on an on-ramp now, possibly onto the 105 again. And it seems like we're just backtracking now, all the places where we've been before. Air 7 HD, you're exactly right. They are having to climb to about, if I'm not mistaken, 3,000 feet to go over the runways. The police helicopter does not have to abide by exactly those same rules, so they can kind of punch right through. And Air 7 HD now meeting back overhead with this pursuit on Imperial Highway. And it looks like this is going to be a ramp back onto the 105 now, and we're going to continue back westbound on the 105, just retracing our steps. But we've seen a lot of close calls. We've seen a lot of excessive speeds. And it looks like as the pursuit comes right under our helicopter there, CHP still surprisingly staying right up alongside this pursuit. I would think with the excessive speeds that they might give this guy a little bit of space. But CHP seems very adamant about staying really close to the suspect and making sure they keep a close eye on him. And we're going to come up on the 105 and the 405 interchange here, and that'll give this guy some more options here. It's anyone's guess at this point where this driver will go. I think that's going to be the 405 interchange right there, and it looks like we're going to punch right through it and continue now eastbound on the 105, back where we were just moments ago.
Right. Passing by a considerable number of vehicles at a very high rate of speed. You see the traffic does seem to get a little, it's a little heavier right now. I'm surprised by the number of other cars we're seeing out here. And you saw that near miss when he was close to the airport on the surface street on Sepulveda, when somebody turned in front of him. Right here, it's in our right, on the right side of the screen there. Somebody just making a left turn, had no idea this was coming up behind him, and it was very, very close to a pretty difficult collision that would have ended this pursuit and possibly left somebody very badly hurt. But it did not end that way, and luckily everybody is alive and okay. But the pursuit does continue on the westbound 105. Some carpool lane violations you can add to the list of things that have happened here that began, of course, with a car that was reported stolen. This is somebody's vehicle that has been stolen and is being driven around by these people with the police in pursuit. As an aside, a friend of mine had his car stolen from his driveway a few years back, and we actually covered that pursuit live on ABC7. He was watching his own car on Channel 7 being driven around, and it was a Range Rover Sport, as I recall, and and it crashed, and the pursuit ended. And he told me later, yeah, that was my car, and it was very. He said it was really surreal watching his vehicle being stolen and driven in that way and being pursued, and wondering how it was all going to end, like everybody else, but really having some skin in the game in terms of what the outcome could be, hoping his insurance would, of course, cover it. It did, but hoping nobody got hurt. You know, you don't want, no matter what, you don't want somebody to get hurt in something like this, and that potential is always there when you're looking at the speeds that we're dealing with and the number of cars that he is passing to the right and to the left.
We're starting to pass a few more cars than I think we saw in the opposite direction. Looks like there's a little bit more traffic going in the eastbound direction now, and if our speedometer is right, we're going a little bit faster now, upwards of 115 miles an hour. Now we're doing a lot more swerving than we've seen early on, going from that carpool lane to the number 1 lane to the number 2 lane and back and forth, and making really close swipes of some of these other vehicles here, just about their evening, driving away possibly from LAX on a Tuesday evening, now almost a Wednesday morning here. And now we're almost all the way to the far right side of the freeway. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we've already passed the 110, and we're continuing eastbound back towards Watts and Linwood and so on. And now we're back in the left into the carpool lane. And Mark, as you were saying, it just has to be very surreal. And now we're just dodging cars. You know, there was somebody in the carpool lane, and this guy jumps over to the number 1 lane. And as we're getting a little wider shot here, we're able to see that CHP, they're holding back a little bit, which is the behavior that I've kind of been expecting them to have even earlier on. But maybe as they're seeing this guy bounce from left to right and using every inch of this eastbound 105 freeway.
Well, look at this
they're deciding
traffic.
to hold back now.
Look at he just split a lane between those two cars. There's a lot of traffic right now. I wonder if there's some sort of obstruction ahead of him that is causing all these cars to back up. And really, because there would normally not be this kind of bunched up traffic at this time of night. So I'm wondering what's ahead and if there is something that is squeezing that traffic down and making it much more difficult for this person to navigate. Look at all those cars there at 11:58 at night. Go ahead.
I don't see anything like an accident or anything like that, but there's definitely increased volume in this area as you approach the 710 now. That it could be due to an earlier accident or something of that nature that may have just bunched up a lot of this traffic. But you're absolutely right. You know, you're seeing cars in every lane there that this guy's having to bounce around now. And if he's going to maintain those speeds of 100 miles an hour, it means that he's going to have to do a lot of swerving, and that becomes that just adds more danger to this. You know, even on a freeway, when you do that amount of swerving back and forth, your luck can only go so long. And now we're working on hour 2 of this pursuit now of this 4-door stolen car. It's just, you start to think, how much longer can this driver go? How much longer will this driver's luck last? And even like we've said, this guy has a co-pilot there, even though I haven't seen the light in that passenger side on in a little while now. But this guy has someone, we presume, helping him or her navigate. Even with that, that has to be something that could fatigue this driver, just the amount of time that we've seen him hold these speeds of 100 miles an hour plus. Continuing on this eastbound 105, now approaching the 710 again, and we're seeing him take an off-ramp there.
Big loop. That's what we're seeing. I believe, is he going right through it? And let's see. We're widening out the shot here. Looks like that's going to be the northbound 710 freeway. All right,
and we're going to go back to downtown if we go this way.
Right, and unfortunately, we're going to have to leave this for considerations of fuel and other things, so we'll have to let everybody know in the morning how this thing ended up. But a prolific high-speed pursuit that ended up basically a big loop, a giant loop across much of the South Bay and southwest Los Angeles, involving 2 different police agencies. It does continue. It is dangerous, and we will try to find out as much as we can about it and relay that information to you. I'm Mark Brown, along with Gabe Santos, reporting live.